There, I have started. Today we are starting Okami HD. There was a tiny village by the name of Kamiki. Legend tells of a horrible beast that threatened the residents. It also tells of the wolf that risked it all to protect them. Controlling the very fabric of existence, this wolf stood up against a beast many times its size. It's going too fast. This ethereal wolf's valiant act ushered in an era of tranquility. The villagers' hearts swelled with respect and
blah blah blah.
You need to be a little
Well, that was the opening thing. They don't care about it.
pretty.
You trying to pause it. Oh, she blocked it. Like, I'm too occupied.
It's not pretty.
Well, I'm talking about a cat right now.
I know.
begin story.
Bella's pretty cute.
Playing with her little
Yes.
toy. She tried to run with it and it came out of her mouth.
Where's your toy?
New game.
She's like, I'm tied up with my toy.
Where's your toy? Where is it?
Do you want to borrow this just in case you want something?
I don't want it. No, wait. Maybe I will. I can always do that.
Those. Because those were the last four.
Not those.
Long, long ago, tiny hamlet known as Kamiki lay nestled in a grove of proud and beautiful cherry blossoms. Each and every tree around the quiet burg was honored as a god. However, the village was not without its dark secrets. To satiate the appetite of Orochi, a fearsome cave-dwelling beast, a young maiden was offered as a sacrifice at the annual festival. With a body like a mountain and 8 heads mounted on necks the size of tree trunks, its blood-red eyes alone were said to curse anyone who gazed into them. No one dared disobey the horrific beast. When the night of the sacrifice drew near, a mysterious white wolf appeared outside the village. This wolf, its coat as brilliant as snow, was dubbed Shiranui. The wolf kept a watchful eye on anyone who ventured outside the village and made a habit of patrolling the streets at night. People assumed the wolf to be a familiar of Orochi. One villager took it upon himself to face the fearsome Shiranui. The warrior Nagi attempted many times to challenge the wolf, but his attempts were thwarted by Shiranui's swift movements. Before long, the night of the accursed festival had arrived. A white-plumed arrow heralded the coming sacrifice. Piercing the sky, the arrow sunk its shaft squarely into the home of Nami, the village's most beautiful maiden. Nagi, harboring a secret love for Nami, was enraged by this sign. Determined to put an end to Orochi once and for all, Nagi traveled to the beast's cave in place of his beloved. The Moon Cave, a place as dark as evil it is itself, served as Orochi's home. As Nagi stood bravely before the entrance, the beast appeared, eyes glowing crimson upon 8 thrashing necks. Orochi stood tall before him, anxious for another sacrifice. Nagi leapt with incredible grace, swinging his blade valiantly. On and on he sliced, well into the moonless night. But Orochi's hide was like steel. The blade had left nary a scratch. At long last, Nagi, his energies spent from the intense battle, dropped to his knees, fatigued and gasping for breath. He knew he was staring death in the face. It was then that the wolf appeared. As if to protect Nagi, it stood its ground before Orochi. In the darkness of the cave, the wolf's coat shone brilliantly. Alas, it was Shiranui, the wolf that dwelled outside the village. Bearing fearsome claws, Shiranui leapt toward Orochi. Orochi reared terrifying heads, readying its fangs for battle. The two beasts struggled wildly, clashing in the darkness. Mysterious and terrifying, the spectacle continued. Shiranui summoned gusts of divine wind to counter Orochi's flames. As Orochi closed in on Shiranui, sharpened claws glistening, a gigantic tree suddenly sprouted forth, shielding the wolf. Shiranui fought gallantly to gain the upper hand. However, Orochi, protected by a mysterious power, was not easily bested. Shiranui, covered in gashes, majestic coat dyed crimson, stood exhausted before the mighty Orochi. Orochi saw a chance to strike what would be the final blow, but Shiranui refused to give in. With its last ounce of strength, the majestic wolf gazed heavenward and unleashed a mighty blow. Suddenly, the black clouds overhead dissipated. The light from above glistened off Nagi's sword as a beacon of hope. Guided by his sword, Nagi, who had been taking shelter in the shadows, stood proudly to face his adversary. Channeling all his strength into his scared and battered arms, He leapt ferociously toward Orochi, his sword poised high. The golden sword danced in his hands like a puppet on a string. One by one, Orochi's fearsome heads separated from their owner. Orochi's broken body collapsed in a lake of its own blood. In that instant, the curse that plagued the village was lifted. As the battle subsided, the sun shone once again in the sky. Shiranui had succumbed to Orochi's poison and struggled to breathe. Nagi scooped the beast into his arms and returned to Kamiki. When they reached the village, Shiranui was no longer moving. The village elder gently stroked the wolf's head. In response, Shiranui let out a hoarse and pitiful bark, then closed its eyes and drifted off as if into slumber.
Or should I just hardware?
Peace had at last returned to Kamiki village. In honor of Shiranui's heroic exploits, the villagers erected a shrine and placed a statue of the wolves within it. Nagi's sword was christened Tsukuyami, placed inside the moon cave. The villagers all looked forward to an age of endless peace. However, this is not the end of the story. There is more to this tale than most people know. 100 years had passed since Nagi and Shiranui's heroic exploits. It happened so quickly that no one in the village even took notice. Is this the legendary sword? Is this Tsukuyomi, the sword that banished the dreaded Orochi? No, it couldn't be. It's just a legend, nothing but a fairy tale. Oh, he who seeks power, he who has broken my bounds. Speak the words, I wish darkness onto this world. Utter that prayer unto me, and unleash my power. A horrible tragedy suddenly swept over the land. However, there was no one village that seemed to escape the terrible curse. The tiny settlement of Kamiki village enjoyed the protection of a sacred tree. It is here that the real story begins. Wood sprite Sakuya. How troublesome. This is just like the ancient prophecy of doom. What has transpired to bring about such a calamity? We must act quickly. There is no time to lose. My power has diminished over the years I spent protecting this area. I don't have much time left in this world. Amaterasu, now is the time. We have never needed your power more. Shine your divine light upon this broken, polluted world. Let your heavenly rays become our hope as you guide us all. Okami, Amaterasu. Such a divine white light, such beauty and grace. The only one capable of such a wondrous spectacle is none other than our mother and the origin of all that is, Amaterasu. How delightful to see that the savior whose brave sacrifice sealed away the evil demon so many years ago was not changed one bit. Seeing you emerge after so many years spent as a statue brings happiness to my heart. Amaterasu, gaze upon above you and take in the condition of the sky. Since your untimely departure from our midst, the world has succumbed to devious and vicious beasts. They have ravaged our fine and bountiful country of Nippon. But never have the circumstances been worse than they are at this very moment. Please use your powers to banish the darkness and punish those who would do us harm.
I didn't even know that ever.
What is this? Has something stolen its way into my robe? Hahaha.
What is wrong with Sakuya?
Phew, what on earth? You again? Are you nuts? Boy, for a little thing, you sure make a big fuss. I was just trying to make the conversation a bit more interesting, that's all. Were you napping in my clothes again, Bug? Bug? I told you 1,000 times not to call me that. I'm a wandering artist. Name's Isan. I'll show you just how great I am, and it won't be long till you're bowing before my great brush. Well, what do you think? Even cuter than the real thing, no? What's with you, Furball? You look kinda down in the dumps. Actually, you look kinda familiar. Got it. You look just like that statue of Shiranu. Whoa, what do you think you're doing? Are you crazy? A handsome guy like me should never be covered in wolf slobber. You'll regret messing with the great Isun. Don't make me use my prize sword Denkumaru against you. What's that growling sound? And why is it so dark anyway? Oh, great guard Amaterasu. I've used all the power I have to protect Kamiki village. The village lives on. Their spirits lie encased in my fruit. Cut it free and the village will be reborn. I trust in you. I know that you will lead us down the right path. Only your awesome power can restore life to the world. The trees returned to normal, huh? That Sakia girl sure said some weird stuff. The villagers' spirits are being kept inside the fruit? That's the fruit. That girl said that if you cut down, the village will be restored. But it's awfully high up there. If you don't use some kind of special power, there's no way you're gonna reach it. This darkness is really getting to me too. A lot can happen while you're taking a nap. What's this?
Oh, it says you can't take a picture. I'm like, can you take a picture?
Where are we? Got awfully quiet all of a sudden. I don't remember any place like this in the village. Well, we better keep our eyes peeled. You can use the right stick to look around. L1 changes your point of view. Boy, you really look so helpless. You sure you're gonna be okay? Hold on. That's an origin mirror. They say once your reflection appears on its statue, your memories will be stored in the mirror for all eternity. Well, to put it shortly, you can save your progress here. And let me give you a little advice. You should save a number of game files. That way you can always go back if you get stuck or something. Gotta be prepared, especially while you're still learning the ropes.
You know what's weird is I don't think many people thought Okami was a girl until like almost the very end, right?
Right.
And you could say like you did play this